Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Timmy Treacle, also known as Horror Fan for Life, and I have a special top 10 list for you guys. I do believe I did this top 10 list possibly a year or two ago. I don't know if I ever did it for this channel, but this will be an updated version of that list. I'm giving you my top 10 movies from the year I was born, which was 1978. Um, I have seen 20 movies from 1978, 10 of which will be honorable mentions. So I'm going to go ahead and get through those right now. My 10 honorable mentions are Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke, Heaven Can Wait, Bad News Bears, Jaws 2, Days of Heaven, Going South, The Fury, The Great Train Robbery, Force 10 from Navarro, and Blue Collar. All very good movies. Just couldn't make my top 10 list. But coming in at number 10 is Every Which Way But Loose, uh, starring Clint Eastwood. Um, he is a bare knuckle brawler in this movie. He loves to fight. He lives with his mom and his brother and the orangutan, Clyde, and ends up falling for this country singer that he meets at one of the bars. They have an on again, off again relationship, and throughout the movie, he has several fights where he likes to, he'll make money and whatnot, and uh, he ends up getting into it with this motorcycle gang, um, which is just hysterical. Just literally kicks the crap out of these guys. Clint Eastwood was an actual boxer during his day. I believe it was amateur, but uh, this movie is funny, and I love Clyde the orangutan in this movie. There is a sequel to that was made, um, but this one it's just great. His then wife uh, stars in this movie along with him. They did a handful of movies together, which were really good. There's not a whole lot of Clint Eastwood that are films that are not good, but Every Which Way But Loose comes in at number 10. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Number 9 is one of my favorite revenge horror movies. And this is I Spit on Your Grave. I did a review for it on my channel the other day. You can find it on there. I did a revisited review because earlier this year they finally made a sequel to the 1978 movie. Although there's a 65-minute unofficial sequel, but no one really counts that. This is the official sequel to the 1978 movie, which I'm going to watch here sometime early next month and look forward to that review as well. I Spit on Your Grave is a great revenge horror film. This woman, she's a writer. Uh, she's looking to get away, have some peace and quiet, and do some writing. Along the way, these four uh, hillbillies decide to um, mess with her, and they eventually end up severely raping her repeatedly. Um, and then, of course, in this movie, she exacts revenge on these guys, and boy, does she ever. There was a remake in 2010, which was excellent. I actually like it more than this original, and it had two sequels, which were really good as well. Um, but I love the 1978 movie. There was a lot of controversy around this movie because of the rape scenes and the revenge and all that stuff. This movie was banned in a lot of countries. It has since been lifted, but again, this is one of those movies that were a video nasty, if you will. But I love this movie. Definitely check it out, and it comes in at number 9. Number 8 is Deer Hunter. Robert De Niro, uh, just fantastic in this movie. Um, you got a great cast in this film. It's about these guys who suffered the war, who have a hard time getting back into society and fitting in. And one of them ends up um, basically just not going away. And something tragic happens in the third act of this movie. I won't spoil it, of course, but Deer Hunter um, was one movie that not only was on my list to see, but I follow this 1001 movies to watch before you die list. It's on IMDb. It's from the 2016 list, and it was definitely one I wanted to watch. And it is a phenomenal film. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen Deer Hunter. Coming in at number 7 is Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This is a remake of the original. I believe it was 1950s. I believe. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section below. Um, but this one is a remake, of course. It's got Donald Sutherland, Jeff Goldblum. This is a great movie. Oh man, these guys figure out that um, people are being killed and being grown out of these pods and being taken over, basically. And this is a phenomenal movie. The cinematography, the special effects are phenomenal, and this is just a great remake. This is one of the remakes, like The Thing, that you can actually say is better than the original. And in my opinion, this is better than the original. Even though I don't believe I haven't seen the original yet, but regardless, this is considered to be one of the best remakes of all time. And I have to agree, this is a phenomenal movie. I love the characters, and yeah, definitely a great movie. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Number 6 is National Lampoon's Animal House. Animal House, you got a great cast. Tim Matheson, John Belushi, Kevin Bacon, very young Kevin Bacon in this movie. This takes place on a college where you have sororities and um, your different clashes of people basically fighting against one another. You have a fraternity pretty much full of snobs versus slobs. And the slobs, you have the Delta House, which is what I would be a part of if I was in college during that era. And they love to drink beer, have parties, and just have a great time. And these two kids are um, basically new recruits, if you will. And one of them is a legacy who's hoping to get in. Um, and along the way, they they end up getting in a lot of trouble, not only with the dean, they get put on double secret probation, and they're constantly at war, not only with the fraternity, but with some of the sororities as well. And it's just a lot of fun. This movie um, was one of the, uh, I would say, first to introduce the slobs versus snobs uh, comedy, if you will. That was also introduced in Caddyshack a few years later. But this is a funny film. It still holds up to today, and it's one of my favorites. Definitely one of my favorite comedies of all time. So definitely check out National Lampoon's Animal House. The food fight scene in the cafeteria is great. But my favorite scene in this movie is when Craig is, pardon me, is getting a hand job in the car from this cheerleader, and he's basically nothing's happening, and she complains about her arm getting tired and everything, and yeah, it's a funny ass scene, and yeah, just a great movie. Definitely check it out. Coming in at number 5 is the Buddy Holly story. This movie stars Gary Busey, and he actually won the Academy Award for Best Actor for his portrayal of singer Buddy Holly. Um, he gives a fantastic performance. It shows his early days when he's first starting out, and then he hits the height of his success, and then ultimately it leads to the ending of the movie where he dies in the tragic plane crash uh, with the Big Bopper and Richie Valens, and of course the pilot. It's about 5 miles outside of Clear Lake, Iowa, where these guys tragically died. And but it's a great story. Buddy Holly and Gary Busey gives a great performance, and ultimately, they say this movie led to the downfall or downside of his career after this film, which I tend to disagree. But nonetheless, this is a fantastic biofilm. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. It's definitely worth the watch. Number 4 is Superman. Christopher Reeve will always be Superman to me. I love the first 3 films. The 4th film is something we don't discuss, but I love this original. Lois Lane, Clark Kent, Gene Hackman. Just, you have it all. You have the great superhero, the villain, the girl. You got it all in this movie. And yeah, that's all I really need to say. If you haven't seen Superman in 1978 or the first 2 sequels, you're definitely missing out, in my opinion anyway. Coming in at number 3 is George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. This is one of many of his movies from his Dead series. This is my second favorite, next to Night of the Living Dead. And sorry about that. My phone charging. This is my second favorite of his Dead trilogy. And I love zombie movies. They're freaking phenomenal. The makeup effects in these movies are great. And the actors who portray the zombies are fantastic. I like the kills. Although I would say I enjoy the 2004 remake better than this movie. I still love this movie. It's a classic. And yeah, it comes in on my top 10 list at number 3. Number 2 and number 1 are basically 1A and 1B. But coming in at number 2 is my favorite musical of all time. It's Grease. Grease is a great musical comedy. John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John. You have what's his name? I'm drawing a blank on his name. But regardless, Grease is a phenomenal movie. The soundtrack alone is phenomenal. Newton-John and Travolta singing is great. Originally, though, here's a little info you may not know. Kenickie was originally supposed to sing the song Grease Lightning, but John Travolta said that he wanted to sing that song, or pretty much he wasn't going to do the picture. And so he ended up doing the song, which I think was a good choice anyway. But I love this film. The my favorite scene is when they are at the dance and the 3 guys move the cameras during the song, and yeah, that was just a lot of fun. You also have a scene at the drive-in with Travolta and Newton-John, where she slams the door on his pretty much erection, which was funny. Then of course he sings the song, which is I love the song Sandy. But Grease, uh, it's one of the best of all time, and it would be number one if it wasn't for a certain horror director, um, John Carpenter, which leads me to my number one, and that is Halloween. Halloween to me is the standard for slasher films, although some people consider Black Christmas the first slasher film. But no, it wasn't. Psycho from 1960, in my opinion, set the standard for slasher films. Although there was some influence um, for John Carpenter from Black Christmas, um, I love his directing style. This movie uh, had a limited amount of a budget and it made a killing at the box office. But at first, this movie wasn't a hit. A lot of critics were slamming it. People were not going to see it, and they at first were thought like, well, maybe we should pull the movie out of the theaters. Then all of a sudden, some critics gave it high praise, and it just took off from there, and it became one of the best or highest grossing uh, horror movies of all time during its time. And even though technically it is not the highest grossing in the franchise, Halloween 2018 is, but if you adjust for ticket prices and all that stuff, it would be the highest grossing movie of the franchise. But all that aside, Halloween 1978 is a classic. It, it's the standard of which all slasher movies are made. Even 1980s Friday the 13th took a little bit from there, and yeah, it's just a phenomenal slasher movie. Um, Even though there are easily found mistakes on the movie, but I still love it to this day, and it is my number one movie from the year I was born, 1978. So in the comment section below, give me your thoughts and opinions on my list. Did you agree with me? Did you not agree with me? And let me see your list of your top 10 favorite movies from the year you were born as well. I would love to see that, and give me feedback on my list as well. Other than that, I thank you guys for watching. Subscribe today if you're new to the channel. If you like this, hit that like button and share this movie on your social media as you see fit to, or I should say video. Um, Other than that, I thank you guys for watching and check you later.